What will happen if you mix Noida and Bloons Tower Defense 6 into one game? Well, today I am going to try to make a roguelike tower defense. I will try to start with just the enemy mechanics today. So the path, the enemy following the path, HP, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so here I have the first version of the map. The enemies will start right here and make their way to the first green waypoint, then to the second, third, fourth, and so on and so on. Dependent on the size and shape of the track, of course. Here we have the shell of our enemy. I'm going to make it with scriptable objects, so I can easily make different types of enemies, like fast enemies that do less damage, slower enemies that do more damage and have more health, things like that. I'm going to do that by going to scripting, or first right click, no, fuck. I am going to do that by right clicking here, going to create, scripting and scriptable objects. So it will now make a script and I will call it enemy underscore scriptable object. Here we have our enemy scriptable object. When we open it, this right here pops up. I can do things like make a public float called speed, or I will do enemy speed in this scenario. So here we have the one thing with just enemy speed. Now I can just right click here, create scriptable objects, enemy scriptable object. I will make this the normal enemy. Here we have our normal enemy. This is just an object that you can use on a prefab. I think you can just drop it on. No, you cannot. So right here, now I can just change the enemy speed. This I can exit this scriptable object in the enemy itself by referencing in a script. So yeah, that's about how I'm going to tackle this, and I'll just make a time lapse showing you it. What the fuck? That's not the right direction. And that was way too fast. Why are you moving that fast? You are not supposed to going that fast. That was... No, don't do that. Oh, that is way better. That's actually perfect. This is... What? That works so well. I am happy with myself. I did a good job. I'll show you what I did. So first off, I just referenced a few things. The scriptable object, the transform of the waypoint, and the float of how close you need to be to the waypoint, the current waypoint, and the speed. So the speed, it gets that from the scriptable object, as referenced right here. He just says enemy speed is the enemy speed inside the scriptable object. And then you go to this, it just says, hey, move your position to vector3.move towards your value, the waypoint's value, and at that speed. And if the distance between you and the waypoint is closer than this value right here, which is now set to 0.05, it changes the waypoint so that it moves towards the next one. Alright, so I just made the spawning mechanics. It spawns 5 enemies and it can spawn 3 different types of enemies. The normal enemies, the slow enemies, and the fast enemies. That's it. When they reach the end, they disappear a debug log gets called and it says end, and that's what I have right now. I'm happy with it. Besides this, I need a health system, but that's for another time. I'm happy with this, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment if you want to. I will see you later.